You know, even though I'm incredibly excited for the PlayStation 5, I'm extremely excited for the Xbox Series X and Microsoft's games too. I feel like Microsoft has learned from the last gen and is going to be blowing our minds left and right just like the PS4 did, as well as the PS5 doing the same thing. It's going to be one hell of a next gen, especially if you plan on getting both systems like I do. And let's all be honest here, the real winners are going to be the gamers. Hey guys, it's Rob here, and welcome back to the Robo Show, where we cover the latest gaming news, leaks, and rumors from Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo in 2020 and beyond. If you want to be kept up on the latest gaming news, make sure you click that red subscribe button below this video and that notification bell so you know when I upload. In this video, we're going to go over some recent Xbox news that includes the heating situation that's going on, which I'm going to make it clear what's fact from fiction, as well as Microsoft's response, and how Microsoft plans on bringing Gamepass to iOS, because it's kind of a workaround that could work. So Xbox is in sort of a strange spot, or has been in a strange spot in the past year or two. They've done a ton right when it comes to the Xbox Series X, with acquiring Bethesda of all gaming companies and adding EA Play to Game Pass, as well as the Bethesda games to Game Pass too. And of course making the monster that is the Xbox Series X at the price of $500, including the cheaper model at $299, which is a fantastic price for the next gen console, and you'll still get that next gen experience at $299, and I think it's going to be really popular for those who maybe don't want to spend $500 on a new console. Add in the finance option for the Xbox Series X, and Xbox is doing a fantastic job. But that doesn't mean there hasn't been a couple bumps along the way, like the Inside Xbox promising next-gen gameplay and didn't really give us too much gameplay. And let's not forget about the whole Halo Infinite Craig fiasco, and now we have this minor bump that really isn't a bump the more you look into it. So what I want to do in this part of the video is separate the facts from the lies that are being spread around, because there are some people saying that the Xbox Series X is overheating, or the Xbox Series X is doomed, or whatever this current false narrative that's going around is. So for those who haven't been keeping up, maybe you were sick like me in the past couple days and you haven't been keeping up with Xbox news, there have been some influencers getting their hands on the Xbox Series X. To set up the fact from fiction, I'm going to read off two of the people who actually have had the consoles in their hands and have actually played the console. And then I'll get to Microsoft's response, which is very important, and then I'll give you my thoughts on the whole situation, which actually go off of Microsoft's response. The first one is Yong. Yeah, I think I said that wrong. I apologize if I do, and he's a person that is probably the most neutral YouTuber that I watch right now, and this was his impressions on the Xbox Series X and the heat that expels from the console. Many of you are asking about rumors that the Xbox Series X is prone to overheating. In my experience so far, no issues there. You'll obviously feel some hot air if you put your hand in front of the vent, and some parts of the console will feel warmer, but nothing extreme or out of the norm. Next up is Tom Warren, who has had the Xbox Series X, and this is what he said. Lots of people keep asking me about the Xbox Series X heat. I'm under embargo. Just consider this, Microsoft wouldn't send these consoles to hundreds of journalists, streamers, and YouTubers if they had heat issues. They just wouldn't let people touch the console at all. Which he makes a valid point. Bringing these consoles to YouTubers and streamers and journalists is supposed to spread good press for the console. Xbox wouldn't send these Xbox Series X consoles to the press and streamers and journalists if they had heating problems. That would just spread bad press. Now, Microsoft employee Aaron Greenberg, who is the PR for Microsoft, has responded to this whole situation, and this is what he says. The console will output heat out of the exhaust, just as any console will. Our engineering team confirmed that heat leaving the console is not significantly different from the Xbox One X. This matches my experience at home, fast and impressive power for the size. Now, there's one part of the sentence that pretty much anyone right now with a console can test out. Take your Nintendo Switch and run Breath of the Wild for a while. You're gonna feel the Nintendo Switch fan push hot air out. Run God of War on the base PS4 or even the PS4 Pro or Ghost of Tsushima, and you're gonna feel the heat being pushed out. Hell, even your phone heats up. The Wii U heats up. Every console will expel heat or even get hot. Even the PS2 did after a while. This is the cooling system doing its job. If the Xbox Series X wasn't pushing heat out, that would be more of a concern, because that means all the parts in the console are heating up or melting, or it'd be a huge disaster. But it's not, and it's effectively pushing out all that heat and is still quiet. In other words, the fan and the cooling parts like the heatsink are doing their job. And for those Sony fanboys snickering in the back, the PS5 is doing the same exact thing. You know it's coming to a point where I can't even wait until these two consoles are just finally out and this console war just dies down a bit. Some of the fanboy fights in the comment sections and on Twitter are just ridiculous. Just enjoy games as a whole, guys. I promise it's so much better. Those are the facts. The fact is the Xbox Series X is expelling heat as any other console would, including the PS5 and the Nintendo Switch are and will be doing. The lies that the fanboys or the clickbait articles and journalists are spreading and blowing up out of proportion portion are wrong. That aside, does anyone find it a little bit weird that we haven't really seen too much Xbox Series X gameplay? No? Just me? Okay then. So with that over, let's move on to the next topic, which is about Game Pass and how it might be coming to iOS but not as an app, which I know, very weird, but you'll understand how Microsoft will get around Apple once I tell you the news. So for those who have been living under a rock for the past couple months, Microsoft has made Game Pass incredibly good with owning Bethesda now and adding EA Play, not to mention adding Game Pass into the finance package for the Xbox Series X, which is a monthly payment for the console and apparently is cheaper in the long run. Add Game Pass with the Xbox Series X aside from the low memory that is, and you have one hell of a variety of options to pair Game Pass with a console or a PC if you want. Oh, and yeah, of course the mobile Game Pass as well. And this is only on Android because Apple has blocked Microsoft from putting the app on the App Store, but Microsoft may have just found a workaround for this, and could be huger for Game Pass than you actually are thinking. So if you haven't heard, Microsoft still plans on bringing the app to iOS users, but in a very weird way. Instead of bringing Game Pass in app form, Microsoft may try to use the Safari web browser, which is the web browser on the iPhone, as a way to get the gaming stream service on the device to the users. So what you'll do is fire up Safari on your iOS device and then put your login information to Game Pass on the website and choose your games and play them. Now this is interesting because this would not only make it possible on iOS but pretty much any device. This means you could potentially play Game Pass on the PS4 because the PS4 does have a web browser, which is a little strange to think about that could be in the future. Now one thing to keep in mind that this isn't set in stone yet, but Microsoft boss Phil Spencer has said that they will absolutely end up on iOS. That's a direct quote from him. And it kind of makes sense. There is a huge install base on iOS, which means more Xbox players to buy into Game Pass and other products like the new fancy console, the Xbox Series X and S. But overall, this is a really good thing for Game Pass and people who are interested in Game Pass like me. I want to play Elder Scrolls Day 1, which speaking on that game, I cannot wait for that game. And of course Dragon Age 2, I can't wait for Dragon Age 4, that's gonna be so good. But anyways, little off topic, but what do you guys think about this? What do you think about these two Xbox Series X news stories that we have for you today? Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up and of course subscribe to Robo Gaming for more gaming news. Thanks for watching guys, and remember, stay safe, stay charged, and have a good one.